Well, good evening, and good evening. I want to thank you so much for joining me this evening. Today, the 30th of the first, 30th of first, 2025. We're almost the end of. Well, we're at the end of January, going into February. Can you imagine? We're into February already, and I just want to thank you so much for joining me. Those on Instagram, those on TikTok, those on Facebook, and those on YouTube. Well, as I always say. Welcome, welcome, welcome. As I always say, every Thursday night, and wherever you are seeing so many different uh, things happening around the world. So many things happening around the world. And my topic tonight is about the world shift. And we all will understand that the world is shifting in a different way. It's like it's, is it uncontrollable or is it controllable? But in the essence of it and right in the middle of it, you're having issues regarding America. But at the same time, you're hearing about things happening in Congo. You're hearing about M23, M23. You're hearing about deportations to Jamaica of America or persons in America. You're hearing about the water rates will be increasing in the UK. You're hearing about the third Heathrow will be having another what should I say, runway or so. All these different things. But what is it that one wants really zero in and focus on? Is it the hostages which are being released step by step in the Middle East? But at the same time, you're not hearing anything which is happening in regards to Ukraine. Is that war over? Is Ukraine over? And of course, at the same time, they are having many different confirmation of different of Mr. Trump cabinet. But one thing for sure, and one thing that everyone cannot dismiss, is the fact that President Trump, who has decided and to follow through with the promises that he made, is following it through, and many people are unhappy. So, ladies and gentlemen, let us just start the show and let's get going. Well, good evening. Good evening, good evening, good evening. Well, as I said earlier, there are many different things which are happening in the world today, and many things that one has to somewhat recognize and definitely understand and comprehend. But one of the first things that I want to touch on is, and many people have been following that, is regarding this accident in America, you know, in regards to this plane and this helicopter which crashed. Yeah. And what they're saying is that no block boxes yet recovered in deadly Washington D.C. plane crash. Yeah, and in a breakdown of what it is, it says investigators from the federal agency note that the mid-air collision like this are rare in the USA, and pointed out that Thursday marks their first full day at the scene of the incident. Donald Trump, President Donald Trump, has even held a press conference in regards to that, and has been tweeting on it. Yeah. The National Transportation Safety Board says they are investigating multiple factors as they look for a cause of a fatal crash between a commercial airplane and a military helicopter in Washington, D.C. Yeah. As I said, President Donald Trump earlier offered his condolences, saying, "Our hearts are shattered by the incident on Wednesday night. No one is believed to have survived. No one. Officials say 64 people were on the American Airlines flight and three on the helicopter." Well, one of the things that they're saying is that people should not be thwarted or discouraged from actually flying, you know? And Trump blamed diversity rules on his predecessors, blamed diversity rules, saying he believed people hired for air traffic controls were not always qualified, but offered no evidence of this. Now, one of the things that Donald Trump, the president, he shoots from the hip. and sometimes you don't know if he has evidence to back it up, especially the whole thing with diversity. And when you hear about diversity, sometimes you're thinking and saying, hang on a second, are they popping shots at diversity and all those things which have been developed over the years? But at the same time, we are talking about diversity when it comes against affirmative action in a way in comparison to persons who are fit and able to do their particular job. Air traffic controllers can be heard asking the helicopter crew if they can see the plane. Yeah. Board members released details, said they are confident that they will recover the flight recorded soon, but for now it's important to focus on recovering the victims from the icy waters. And what they're saying is that these victims were a part of um, a skating team. They said U.S. and Russian skaters were on board crash plane. Pair of 16-year-old skaters and their mothers, two Russian coaches were among the passengers on board an airplane that hit a helicopter above Washington, D.C. on Wednesday evening, the group skating club in Boston says. Um, Gary, are you ready? Let me tell me if you're ready. Give me a thumbs up. Are you ready? Are you ready? Okay. How are you? You good, man?
I'm doing good, man. How are you?
Oh, I'm good I'm good. I'm taking it easy, really good. Really give God grace and God thanks for today, with what is happening in the world. You got to give God thanks um, for life, for able to, as somebody said, to be able to cross over into the 30th of January and crossing over, all being well, into the 31st of January as well. And that is
Yeah,
very important. Yeah.
it's great to be alive in the land of the living.
Yes, land of the living. I was talking about this plane incident, this helicopter and the plane which crashed in America there. And it really has sort of galvanized the nation to a point because there's not a clear understanding of what really transpired, except just the fact that an helicopter, Black Hawk helicopter, crashed with an American airline. It just doesn't
Mhm.
make sense. It's not adding up. That even Donald Trump is personally involved and trying to get to the answer of this whole thing. Um,
Yeah, it has brought a few questions to bear. I mean,
yes,
why? What would a Black Hawk helicopter be in that area? I mean, knowing that airspace is very busy. Um,
yes.
you know, so why would they be training? They said it was a training session.
Well, I guess what it is, nobody really know what was going down there. You know what I'm saying? Nobody know
Mm.
what was really going down there. At the same time, regarding why this actual helicopter was there, and they said the helicopter and the communication was happening, and they were saying, and even Donald Trump was saying, why, what is it doing there? That's you know
Right.
that's
We'll
very.
we'll have to we'll just have to see what transpires out of the investigations really, and what may even happen or come out at any time. Because if you've noticed,
Yes.
uh, there have been a few probably not notable incidents or things taking place.
Mm.
Um, let's say since Trump won the election and now he's in the office, that things are transpiring, things are happening, and there's no real explanation of what or
So
why.
what you're sort of saying to us or intimating is that a lot of things are going to start to be exposed
Well, it
based on
seems that
this.
way. I mean, to me, it seems that way. I mean, you highlighted the area of or the incident of the Black Hawk with the American Airlines,
Yes.
and even Trump is noticing, why has this taken place? Why did it take place? What was the reason
Yes.
for it? You know, I mean, why did it happen that 64 people have lost their lives when, in
Yes.
actual fact, to some extent, it's not that an American Airlines um, flight path has not crossed, I'm sure, that area before. I'm sure there's been
Mm.
hundreds of aircraft flying, getting ready to land, because that is what this airplane or this aircraft was doing, isn't it? It was preparing for landing, wasn't it so?
Yeah, well, yeah. And they
And
said, and
the army knows these things. It's not that these things
mm,
are coming up and nobody knows. So why now? Why has there been, um, uh, you know, the army? Why did the army sanction for a a training session to happen in the flight path of an American airline? It could have been United Airlines. It could have been a Delta. It could be
yeah,
Continental. I don't
yeah,
think it really matters what airline it is. And
yes.
if there is any coincidence or whatever, then that will come out also. But Washington D.C. That's the capital, that's the capital of the
Yes.
United
I,
States.
I do wonder how close it was to the White House because it's in DC, isn't it?
Well, that's
Uh,
again,
Yeah.
yeah,
Plane was carrying 64 passengers and crew when it collided in midair with a U.S. Army helicopter just after 9 p.m. local time on Wednesday, which was yesterday.
right,
It then
right.
fell into the ice cold Potomac River. You remember there was also that bridge that that fell down and dropped into that water as well. I haven't got the outcome of what happened there. As many as 15 people on the flight may have been involved in the figure skating, you know,
Yeah.
as well, you know.
It's
So
just sad. It's just sad.
yeah, and it's early on Thursday, Russia confirmed that some of its citizens had been on the plane after Russian media reported the names of Normov and Shishkova in it. But Donald Trump is onto it and trying to get to the bottom of the whole thing. I must say, and trying to understand what is really happening. Hi, Dennis, how are you doing? You know,
Mm.
but that's very sad. And I was listening to a couple of commentators, and they were saying, people have got to really hold their family close and really thank God um, as to the things. It reminds me of the latest development which is happening in the Middle East, and you can see it unfolding before our very eyes with the release of a few different prisoners, and you can see the joy of the family when they see their families, with what is happening. There's like a sort of um, you know Hamas is doing their way as well. But that is really positive. But have you realized you ever heard anything about Russia and Ukraine? Is it
Well, I mean,
definitely silence?
we know that the war is going on over there.
It's,
You
or
see,
it's the war is over.
no, it's just putting on the back burner, isn't it? I mean, ever since, if you
Uh,
notice, ever since the conflict, let's say conflict took place in the Middle East,
yes,
the war in Ukraine has taken a back seat. Again,
yes.
I mean, lives are being lost. Lives are being lost. Cities in Ukraine are being destroyed.
Mm.
So I think what's his name? The president of Ukraine, really, he's having to
Zelensky. Zelensky.
Zelensky, yeah, he's having to fight a battle on his own, by himself. Even though in the beginning, if you notice, Europe and everybody was backing him. I mean, he probably didn't have to say much, but now he's having to say a lot and to fight a battle. It would seem on his own, because it's not really in the news anymore, is it? These things are not being highlighted in the news at all. Again, it
And,
depends on which news channel or which news media you listen to.
and Trump is not very keen in spending taxpayers' money over there. Trump is not keen. Trump is holding back a lot of
Yeah, yeah.
in regards to Ukraine. But I don't know if you are. I was watching the Americans, sorry, the Israeli and Thai hostages released from Gaza today. 8 more hostages held by Hamas in Gaza have been released amid chaotic scenes as part of the ceasefire deal with Israel Three Israelites and five Thai nationals were handed over to the Red Cross by Hamas before being transferred to Israelite forces. Taken to Israel, a total of 110 Palestinians were later released from Israelite prisons, including 32 with life sentences and 30 minor. Israel delayed their release in response to the way the hostage was treated as they were handed over. I don't know if you saw that sort of big um, noise and fanfare. I I think they put the poor, but I'm not gonna say the hostages, very scared. I could see one girl. I mean, she was just crying when she reached into the arms of her parents.
Mm, mm. I mean, I think again, it must be a relief. It has to be a relief. We just don't know what went on in the minds of those who were hostages. We don't know the fear. We
Mm,
don't know the pressure that they must have been under, and the relief that many of these ladies, girls, men, boys, must have felt um, when they were either welcomed by their fathers, their mothers, their husbands, their sisters, their brothers, knowing that they may have died just as unfortunately so many others had died while they were held hostage. So, it was rather breathtaking and a relief, at least for me anyway, you know.
yeah, yeah, yeah. It's one of the title which I've titled the show is the world shift, and I don't know if you've seen a sort of shift which is happening in the world at present. You know, with the Trump factor. You saw what was happening with Colombia when Colombia said they're not going to budge, and that they're not going to accept any refugee, any Colombians or so. And then Trump said, "All right, I want to mash up your business." And then all of a sudden, they changed their tune and
Mm.
allowing the planes. They said they didn't want it. They didn't. They were dignified. And now what you're hearing, what Trump is saying, is that they are going to, if countries do not want to take their citizens back, 30,000 places have been set up in Guantanamo Bay. 30,000 places, Gary.
Well, I mean, I think from the as we have been saying, and I'm quite sure, I'm
Mm,
quite sure that um, I'm quite sure that you will remember, and those that are listening and watching you from one week to the next,
yes.
that when Donald Trump, when he won the election, we saw, if we didn't see, I'm sure we heard of the change of stance of many of the world leaders and the
Mm,
countries
yeah.
that they stood on. I mean, they changed. Many of them wanted to meet with Trump himself.
Yes.
Many
Yes.
wanted to
Mm,
at least to know that he um, that they will be seen in a favorable light. He
yes.
gave at that point, we know now that since he's coming, okay, fine, the many of the things that he said that he was hoping to finish
Mm,
will be ended by the time he got into office. We know that hasn't come to fruition. But at the same time, many who were stomping for war and for all types of trouble, they more or less found some way of finding peace, some sort of peace and some sort of calm, because they are afraid of Trump, because what Trump says he'll do, he does. I mean,
yes.
take for instance, he said that he's going to do a mass deportation. He did, and
Mm,
even though it's Colombia, I can't remember which country it was that refused to take them,
Colombia.
but
Colombia.
yeah,
Colombia.
Colombia, and he did it, and even though they returned, but he's still on the same track of saying he's going to deport illegals. illegal immigrants, those who don't have proper papers, good or bad, it doesn't matter. Trump is keeping his word, and I think that the
Mm.
world sees there are certain elements in our world that sees that Trump is not going to just talk into the air and leave it there, whether it works or not. He's saying it, he's doing it, and people are afraid of that.
They are saying that there's more than 5,000. Let me get the right figures here. More than 5,000 Jamaicans. Yeah, this is it. More than 5,000 Jamaicans issued with final removal orders from the US. A little over 5,000 Jamaicans are listed, more than 1.4 million non citizens on the US Immigration and Customs Enforcement non detained docket with final orders for removal. That's what it says.
Right,
According
right.
to the document published by ICE, as at November 24 last year, there were 5,120 Jamaican nationals who would be targeted for removal. The island is also the island is also listed among 11 countries considered to be at risk of non-compliance in accepting the return of their nationals.
Mm,
Caribbean island of St. Lucia is also included on this list. Yeah.
yeah,
Um,
yeah.
and they said the government is in dialogue. They said the government is in dialogue with U.S. partners amid deportation scare. I mean, uh, how can I say it? There's always a saying: if someone is in illegally, are they a criminal? If
Well,
they're in a country illegally, are they a criminal by the fact that they're there illegally?
well, what would be? I mean, I know you're not an immigration lawyer. I know that,
Mm,
but what I mean, if you were presented with that kind of case with your legal mind, how would you? What would you
mm.
say? What would you say? Um, I mean, for instance, okay,
Well,
if, what would you say,
yes.
or how would you go
Oh, you're
about it?
asking me.
Yeah.
Well. The first port of call is that okay. I was listening to an interview with one of the immigration ministers in the UK, and the question was put to her on Sky: when is a refugee or someone illegal? And what she said is, if they come in illegal and they go for their asylum, then the government or the country has a duty. I mean to say they are sort of what should I say, legalized in a way because they're going through the process. But the girl put her back and said, when do you call them illegal? Because once a person step into a country without going through the normal and the legal process, not the word legal process, then they become illegal. And if someone is in a country, came in legally and overstayed, they're there for 3 months. I mean, I remember one year, I came in the UK as a student, and I remember one year I went to renew my visa, and I was working part time at this law firm, and I was doing over the 20 hours, which I should not do. So, and I was being honest, like people lie. I was honest and say, "Oh, I do 25 hours," and it's, "Oh no, you shouldn't do more than 20 hours. You need to go back to that law firm and get them to write a letter to say that you're not going to do more than 20 hours." And so for that day, Gary, when I went to do that, I was I wasn't over well, I was overstayed, but I was in the process of getting it sorted. So it's not as if to say I was illegal, but I was overstayed with a reason. Because when someone put in an application, they always say a qualified application has been put in, even though
Right,
you're overstayed. So for
right.
that moment, for that time when I went to the law firm to get that letter, I felt like, man, I felt like a fish out of water. You know what I mean? I said, one of those guys gonna one of those guys gonna knock on my door tonight or something like that, you know. Look, I didn't come down to Birmingham and hide underneath your bed, you know what I'm saying?
Mm, yeah,
Those are the early days because I normally used to go down to the home office myself and line up in that queue very early in the morning. I never like sending in my papers. So yes, so if someone is here legally, came to the UK legally, and overstayed by they did not follow through with their visitors visa or the student visa, then they are illegal. And then the question: do you call them a criminal or not? Because people are deported back to their different countries, and it will give the impression that they were criminals, but they're not really criminals in a sense. They're just overstayers, and they might be painted in the same category as persons who are rapists or murderers or whatever that serve their term, and they just want to get them out of the country. So they put
Right.
them in handcuff as
Mm,
well.
yes,
So that's the thing where Trump is sort of dealing with ICE, trying to sort out this sort of mess, because they're saying lots of persons who are illegal, rapists or whatever, was walking around as if everything is okay. You know what I mean? Yeah.
mm, mm,
But
mm,
but I still say this. This is what I still say, and everybody can hear what I say. I believe that nations, Jamaica, the Caribbean, Africa, need to start to pull together in their regions, because what you're seeing is that America under Trump, and based on what the people wanted and what the people demanded, they are trying to sort out them yard. And therefore, it is very important that the region like CARICOM, the Caribbean, sort out themselves together where it becomes attractive, not wanting to dance abroad and not dancing and not singing a yard. You know what I'm trying to say? And I believe that's one of the issues that I believe that creating this world shift. Gary, are you stuck on the ground there? Where are you? You stuck down there. That's what I believe is this sort of world shift. I'm saying, Gary, where are you? You're stumped. Let me see. Gary stumped. But ladies and gentlemen, what do you think about that? I mean, especially those in the states at this time. It is it's a very tricky time, and lots of people are very what should I say, worried about their families, about their family stay, and so, and I believe it is a very interesting time in this world, and I believe it. I'm at work 4:15 here. I'm listening. Okay, good. Gary, I don't know where you are, but I want to follow through something which I always do, and with Kemi Badenoch, because I was watching her with Keir Starmer, and I'll wait till Gary's back. I'll wait till Gary's back as well. Oh, by the way, there's a guy named Dida Nemard. I don't know if you guys know Dida Nemard. Dida Nemard. There is Dida Nemard. Dida Nemard died. Let me see if I have a see Gary's back.
yeah, sorry
You
about
okay?
that.
A
Sorry about
chump
that.
kick you out? Jump it
Yeah,
up now.
it looked like I come to get me, man.
Eh?
Ice.
Oh, ice come for you. Ice come for you.
Yeah, yeah. Sorry about that. Yeah,
It seemed
yeah.
like the ice thing seemed to be a very people are making lots of joke about it. Like they say, this,
Right, it,
I know the videos like if ice come to you. The pity I don't have one of them. If ice come, people are showing how they can hide, and there's a classic one whereby if ice come to a person, and that person is legitimate and legal, he plays around for a while as if to say is illegal in order for ice to spend time with him for the other guys them to run away. and
yeah.
and there's one whereby they knock on the door and they say, this is immigration ICE. And the guy said, oh, I'm not going to open the door. He said, okay, I just want to ask you a couple of questions. What is make America what? The guy said, great again. Who is the top singer? Taylor Swift. Okay. And he said, I think the last one he said, can you say, what's that place called? Give me a supermarket. Give me a big supermarket in the States.
Oh,
What is it? I forget the big. Anyhow, there's a big supermarket in the States. Can you say that the person can't say it properly? And then like they're kicking down the door or so like that. So people are having fun out of it at the same time, you know. But Gary, I wanted to go on to Kemi though, which I tend to do weekly, and
Yeah.
this one was very interesting with she and Keir Starmer, because Keir Starmer just do not answer questions. He just do not answer questions. Let me see if I
He
can
never
find it.
does. Never
He
has.
never does. He never does. Let's watch Kemi Badenoch and Keir Starmer.
Mr. Speaker, may I take this opportunity to solemnly commemorate the 80th anniversary of the liberation of Auschwitz. We remember the 6 million Jewish men, women, and children who were murdered. The Holocaust stands as a unique evil in human history. Mr. Speaker, yesterday, the Prime Minister set his growth test. He said, if a policy is good for growth, the answer is yes. If it's not, the answer is no. This morning, the Chancellor embraced a series of conservative policies. Although many are welcomed, they will take years to deliver. Mr. Speaker, when Conservatives left office, we had the fastest economic growth in the G7. But what is the government doing for growth now? It's destroying it. Let's look at the employment bill. The government's own figures say it will cost business £5 billion a year. It clearly fails the Prime Minister's growth test. Will he drop it?
Mr. Speaker, I think the proposition they left a golden inheritance was tested on the 4th of July, which is why they're standing there. But she asked what we're doing. The ONS say we've got the highest investment for 19 years. PwC, second best place to invest in the world. IMF upgrading growth, predicted fastest growing major economy in Europe. Wages up, inflation down. Mr. Speaker, there's more to do. We're reforming planning and regulation, building the new homes that we need, supporting a third runway at Heathrow. And as she admitted to the CBI in November, there's no point me just complaining about Labour, she said. It's obvious that we Conservatives lost the confidence of business. We're not taking lectures from them.
Mr. Speaker, he doesn't want to talk about the employment bill because he doesn't know about it. Last week, he misled the House. He was not on top of his own education bill, listening to
Sorry, we can't accuse the Prime Minister of misleading the House. No. But he can't do it. I'm sure there's words that you would prefer to use.
Garry, you heard that.
Yeah,
You can't accuse the Prime Minister of huh?
but he's doing that all the time.
Can't
He's not answering any question.
yeah. But anyway, listen to how she changed her words. She had to be thinking on her feet. This is how she changed her words. Listen.
Mr. Speaker, last week he claimed to have laid down an amendment that he had not made. He doesn't know what is going on in here or out there. Last week, I spoke to a woman running a business in Exeter. She is terrified of taking on new staff. She is struggling to keep her head above water, dreading what this government will do next. She's not alone. The Federation of Small Businesses says 92% of small employers are concerned about the employment bill. Clauses 1 through 6 make it harder for business to hire new employees, often young people looking for their first job. This isn't an employment bill, it's an unemployment bill. Given these clauses, will he drop his bill and show that he is not anti-growth?
Mr. Speaker, we believe in giving people proper dignity and protection at work. That's why we're proud of our record supporting workers. They consistently vote against any protection for working people. And her consistent refrain is that there should be less. But, Mr. Speaker, we are driving growth on behalf of working people. Good work rights are consistent with growth. Every good business knows that. And on top of the planning reform, the building the houses, supporting aviation, the Chancellor this morning spoke of the Oxford-Cambridge growth corridor, redeveloping Old Trafford and manufacturing at East Midlands Airport. We want to grow the economy. The only policy she's got is to shrink pensions.
Mr. Speaker, all his ideas are the ones that we thought of. He needs to make sure that we deliver for growth now as well as the future. To grow our economy, we must get more people off sickness and welfare and into work. Clauses 8 and 9 of the unemployment bill take us in the opposite direction by increasing entitlements. His government itself estimates that these changes will increase business costs from £600 million to £1 billion a year in sick pay. That will mean higher prices, fewer jobs, less growth. Will he drop these measures from the bill?
Prime Minister? No, Mr. Speaker. I think they're good for workers and good for growth. This is the same argument they made against the minimum wage and every protection for workers. And she says they're their ideas. Well, Mr. Speaker, she says she's in support of a third runway at Heathrow. Her shadow transport secretary says that it'd be calamitous. The shadow business secretary is busy writing letters opposing airport expansion in his own backyard. Shadow chief secretary says the Oxford-Cambridge idea is flawed and he's against it. We're the coalition of builders, they're the coalition of blockers.
What do you think about the
Sylbourne,
yes.
where is Reeves?
I don't think she's there, but she was making some speech a bit earlier. Is it earlier that day? I think she was making some speech about the
she was up in some other part of the UK, wasn't she?
Yes, she was making some speech about the third runway.
Yes.
Which Sadi can actually oppose as well. So I think the people around the area are just saying they're just fed up now. This is going on for 20 years, you know. It's 20 years this thing has been going on for.
I mean, that third runway in Heathrow was that was muted around when
Tony
Boris,
Blair. Well, just before. No, Boris. No, it was before Boris.
Before that,
yeah. Because Boris was saying that over his dead body he's gonna lie in the road or something like that, and they think it changed his mind. You know, but it is something where people are just saying, just get on with it. At the same time, they're just fed up. Just get on with it. But let's just hear what Kemi says.
Yeah. Mr. Speaker, he forgets his own Chancellor blocked an airport in her constituency. They are hypocrites, Mr. Speaker. Let's talk about this employment bill. Part 1 of the bill means a new employee could start a job in the morning and take their employer to a tribunal that afternoon. It is no wonder that this bill has been called an adventure playground for lawyers. This bill is terrible for business, but it is great employment for lawyers. I know the Prime Minister loves the legal profession, but he needs to stop being a lawyer and start being a leader. This is another measure in the bill that fails his growth test. Will he show some leadership and drop it?
Mr. Speaker, I understand she likes straight talking. She's talking absolute nonsense. She knows, and anybody who understands anything about the bill or any employment law will know you can't start in the morning and go to the tribunal in the afternoon. Now, Mr. Speaker, we know she's not a lawyer. She's clearly not a leader. If she keeps on like this, she is going to be the next lettuce.
Mr. Speaker, he does not know what his...
Hold on, you understand the lettuce bit, yeah?
No, I mean, what did he say in there?
You don't know what the lettuce thing. That is Liz Truss. They said a lettuce lasts more longer than Liz Truss.
Oh my God!
So he's trying to get on the Kemi's skin, you know, but Kemi just keeping it real at the same time. And as I say, when they go low, we go high. I think that's what Kemi is actually doing. When they go low, go high. Let's hear what she says.
Bill is doing. He should listen to business who are terrified of this bill. The only workers he cares about are lawyers, but it is not just lawyers benefiting from this bill. Who else benefits? It's not taxpayers. They will be paying for even more welfare. It's not young workers. They won't get their first break. It's definitely not businesses. They are being hammered with yet more burdens. Who benefits, Mr. Speaker? Who benefits? It's the trade unions. It's the trade unions. Part 4 of the unemployment bill, Part 4, they haven't read it. Part 4 of the unemployment bill is the biggest expansion of trade union powers for a generation. Exactly. Thank you. The public will have heard them cheer. Rather than deregulating for business who create growth, he's deregulating for the unions. Clause 61 alone reduces the notice period for strikes to just 1 week. Given strikes are catastrophic for growth, will he drop Part 4 of the bill?
Mr. Speaker, it's good for working people and it's good for the economy. And she should keep up. The CBI have welcomed our positive steps this morning. Their quotes: the Chancellor's just given a brilliant speech on the economy, fixing the mess they left and growing our economy. CBI said they celebrate their positive leadership, a clear vision to kickstart our economy. That's the difference. We're growing the economy. They left it in a complete mess.
Mr. Speaker, the arrogance of the Prime Minister is that he thinks that it's his government that creates growth. He's wrong. It is business that creates growth. Our economy is built by entrepreneurs, risk takers, and the hard work of working people. They know that you can't tax your way to growth. You can't borrow your way to growth. You can't legislate your way to growth. Other countries are serious about freeing business from red tape. President Trump is doing it in America. Argentina is taking a chainsaw to regulations. Even the EU is not going as far as this left-wing government. This bill will put us at the bottom of fleeing Britain in droves. The Chancellor is desperately trying to save her reputation. She knows Labour have damaged growth. This bill manifestly fails the Prime Minister's own growth test. If he won't drop the unemployment bill, what is the point of his growth test?
It's the Virgin Media
Right.
winter.
Right.
Our price has dropped like the temperature. Get out.
What's your take? What's your take on the whole back and forth
Listen,
over the week?
when you,
You
I
think it's
mean,
going anywhere?
I think what came in my mind is highlighting not only, well, she's speaking to the nation, really. When people or the opposition leaders, even though they have
She's what?
even though the opposition they have their tips for that kind of discussions on the PMQs, I think in my mind they are speaking to the nation. They are speaking to the nation. What Kimmy is saying is that the Labour Party is just a machine for the unions, and what Labour Party is putting on the table as far as employment is concerned for the nation is that it's not so much an heartfelt. It's not so much an heartfelt or coming from the very heart of government. It's coming from the unions themselves. The unions want their power back. That's what the unions want, you know. When Maggie Thatcher, when she was alive and in power, she destroyed the unions, and ever since that, when what's his name? When Tony Blair came into power, it was turned New Labour. So the New Labour, to some extent, never really had the trade unions at the very heart of was not really very much at the heart of government then. Since New Labour has left, and or since the demise of Tony Blair, and after him, who was it? It was the Wright brothers, if you know what I mean. And then what's his name? The old man of the house and all of that. It is the unions that have been trying to get back their power, their sphere of influence. That's what this is all about. Yes. That's what this is all about. I mean, they want the I mean, look at what Labour is doing. Look at the laws, or look at what they're trying to bring in. Even though they're trying to speak up for the employees, but it's really the unions that they're trying to get back to that stage where they were
Yes,
the ones that wielded the sword. Their hands were on the handle, not the blade, which
yes,
the Conservative Party gave them.
yeah,
And so
yeah,
Keir Starmer really, all what he's doing, all what the Labour government really is trying to put forward is all but for the unions.
yeah. You know, I was reading something earlier, and they said Keir Starmer and Rachel Reeves could be forcing a general election on Labour. There are huge clues that Keir Starmer could unwittingly force his party into a situation in which they have to beg Britain to be allowed to stay in power. The fearless chancellors did discover the single word mantra: Possum's growth, the princess of thieves, and her neighbor in Downing Street, two tier, have latched onto this one and are both chanting it incessantly. Growth, growth, growth. Passing by on a stroll along Whitehall, one can almost hear the monotonous hum coming from behind the gates, blocking Downing Street from the outside world. In fact, the UK is positively an echo chamber with all the amplification applied in the print, broadcasts, and on social media. I think, as the person said, they're pushing the UK against a wall. I mean, you heard that the water bill has gone up, and you're hearing things about they're trying to get Netflix even to get people to pay TV license. Finding all different ways how to actually, um, I would say, screw the British public, because when the public, okay, let's use Donald Trump for argument's sake. When people voted for Donald Trump, they know exactly what they're gonna get. He's not into a love affair. You don't have to like him. You vote him, and you get what you're gonna get. When you voted for Keir Starmer, you believe you knew what you're gonna get. What you're getting now is not what you voted for. You didn't vote for a high increase in tax. You didn't vote for them to slap away the fuel support from elderly folks and all these sort of things. And therefore, you wonder at the same time, why are or is it why is it like they're in a rush to fix something which may not need fixing? You know,
You see,
and
yeah.
go on, sorry, yeah.
No, you see, again, I really believe, yes, it may be a plan for Keir Starmer, Keir Starmer, but I think it's going to backfire because the British public is not going to sit back and allow Labour to do what they're doing and get away with it. And I
Yeah,
think, I really believe, I really believe that there are rumblings. We may not be hearing it right now, but I believe that there are rumblings there.
within the Labour
To
camp.
Well, probably within the public. I wouldn't necessarily say within the Labour camp.
Mm,
The Labour camp is already what's place where the strong voices are up front.
yeah.
So if there's any dissenters, they are where they are, and that is as backbenchers. Backbenchers do what backbenchers do, and they're there.
Mm,
But I really believe that yes, they will. I believe that there will be voices in the public that will call for a general election.
yes,
They're going
yes,
to
yes.
call for that. Now, as Kerr has said to some extent, I believe he's not going to have one. He's not going to call for one.
Yeah. After that 3 million persons who signed a petition.
Right.
Okay. Anyway, moving away from that one. Well, Michelle just came in a while ago. Michelle just said that President Trump is having people in the States going crazy. I think he's having the left going crazy. I think it's the left. I think people of the right, they're actually ecstatic. And I've been reading some of the comments, and you can realize where the meltdown is happening, where some persons from the left are saying that Democrats are saying they're going to oppose him. They're going to oppose him. But I always say that the president is subject to the presidency. But the presidency, as we've seen in the US, is the Senate, Congress, and the popular vote and the president. So he's got this massive sway at this time. A lot of court cases are going to be coming up in regarding a lot of these executive orders. But someone pointed out, and I was watching a video, Gary, and the video said, how comes Trump is doing all of that with these executive orders? That means that Barack Obama could have done much more. Barack Obama could have done a lot. That's what the person was saying. So don't give me all of that. If Trump can do it with a swipe of his pen based on these executive orders, then Barack Obama could have done much more. But hey, what can I say? Listen, let me just run this joke here. This joke, and this is something for fun. Look at this, Gary. Look at this. I do this over the massage. I'm saying the whole thing is very interesting, whereby the guy just knock on the thing and his wife come out. I just had to bring that one. I don't know if you heard about this guy named Dido in Jamaica, Gary. Dido was I remember him from school days. He was they used to have rumors that he was into drugs and smuggling and all those sort of things. His name is Dido. And here's his picture. He passed away. Here is he. That's Dido there. But I saw something. I saw a video. Okay, listen to this.
Dido Nemhard was publicly known as a wealthy, upstanding businessman who ran a successful trucking and construction company in the Garden Parish of St. Anne. Dido lived in one of the biggest privately owned homes in the parish and was known for his generosity in and beyond his home community of Cardiff Hall near Runaway Bay. When news came that the then 52-year-old was arrested by Jamaican police after the U.S. government issued an extradition request for him in 2004, very few people were convinced that the law enforcers had picked up the right man. For Dido was such a quiet and humble man who, according to one friend, never even had a visa and had never been to Kingston. The name of the police, then Superintendent Williams, head of the Narcotics Division. Williams would later go on to become police commissioner. But back to Dido. The US DEA said Dido conspired with Libert Ramcharan, Donovan Williams, Rob Roy Williams, Herbert Henry, Vivian Daly, Glenford Williams, and a Colombian national, Luis Miguel Avila Arias, to run a sophisticated drug network between Jamaica and the United States. Specifically, they were accused of using go-fast boats to move cocaine from the northeast coast of Colombia to Florida via Jamaica. The DEA said it conducted raids at warehouses in Jamaica and seized 600 kilograms of cocaine destined for the United States. On June 1, 2004, Dido was designated a drug kingpin by US President George Bush. Dido hired top-flight lawyers to fight his extradition and spent 4 years in detention at the Horizon Remand Center. The extradition fight was watched keenly by US authorities as Dido's lawyers went into battle with the courts, Attorney General Dorothy Lightburn, and National Security Minister Colonel Trevor McMillan. On the morning of July 4, 2008, Dido and 4 of his co-conspirators lost their final appeal and became eligible for extradition. Sometime between July 5 and 10, 2008, Dorothy Lightburn signed the extradition warrant. And even on July 11, with a special US plane on its way to take him to face Uncle Sam's court, Dido's lawyers turned up at the remand center with a new defense motion in hand. But Dido had already been moved by the authorities, and his lawyers, now not knowing where their client was, went to the media to raise awareness about the injustice and unfairness to which he was being subjected.
Anyway, I just wanted to play that there because years ago, growing up in Otrius, and so you always hear going to school, you hear about Dido, Andy Chin, and all these guys, drug smuggling and all those sort of things. Grew up with these guys. These names were like household names going to school or so in Otrius in Sentan there.
Did you know him? You knew him?
I don't know him personally, but I've seen him and stuff like that. From those school days. Um, you know these guys. Yeah. So he passed away upon death, 73. Rest in peace. Yeah. There's been some very disturbing thing which is happening in Jamaica now. There was a lady they found. She's from Britain apparently. They found her hanging off a hotel. Forget what the hotel name. And the newspaper had her postcode. And I'm saying, why do you newspaper had her postcode? And then people were, and I was actually saying, why is their postcode is there? And then they said the postcode went. Apparently they've been reading from the newspaper. There's another lady apparently. There was 3 guys who got killed apparently in Mullines Road. One of them is a soldier. They were alluding that the soldier actually got rid of the 2 guys and he got unalive as well. But I'm getting to understand that maybe that particular soldier was also involved with some shady things as well. And what you're seeing and what you're hearing is some things, some killings which is happening in Jamaica. It's like it's rising in a way. It's subtly rising at the
But it
same
seems to
time.
be getting worse still.
Yes.
It's just getting
Mm.
worse. I mean,
Yes.
again, the killing, the murders that are happening, it hasn't really stopped, It hasn't really
Mm.
stopped, but it seems that the whatever is holding back, whatever was holding back the news from allowing it to leave the island is not. It's either that's being taken down and it's leaking out now,
Yes.
or crime is on the increase. I don't know how
Yeah.
we can say it's on the decrease when all the time we're hearing these things and it seems to be worse now. I mean, last
Yeah.
week I heard of a mother and her children killed in Kingston there. I think somewhere in Kingston. I
Oh
don't
yeah,
know
she was shot up. She was a lady in a car, isn't it?
yeah.
In a Benz.
Her
And
daughter,
yeah,
I
yeah.
think daughter and son.
I think they said they felt it was a hit like or something like that.
I mean,
Um,
what was that about? I mean, I haven't heard any more about it. I don't know if it's
yeah,
still on the investigation, but
yeah.
you know,
And that's why I'm saying it's very important at this time that Jamaica really try to pull together. And I also alluded to what's happening in Congo with the M23 gang, not with the M23 soldiers and so like that, which is the very interesting development which is happening in Congo there. But I believe, in light of what is happening in America and so, that the Caribbean, Africa need to really come together and pull together collectively. It is so important at this time. Very so
well,
important at this time.
that won't happen. That not going to happen,
See, these guys are trying to divide and rule.
Well, I mean, when you say, the countries in Africa and Jamaica or the West Indies must pull together in what way? I mean, we know that's not going to happen.
Well, that's the unfortunate thing. That's the unfortunate thing. It's not saying it's not going to happen because you're seeing the African Union and African nations. You got Nigeria, whereby recently there was a trailer or a truck or so which overturned, and lots of oil spilled, and lots of people ran to scrape up the oils, and then I think the trailer or the truck exploded, and people died. And then at the same time, Shell control a mass of oil in Nigeria. In Congo, the bit which they put in the mobile phones, people are digging for these things, which is so unfortunate. So you see the wealth of what is there in these countries. The wealth of what, I mean, let's keep our eyes on Guyana. Guyana will just tap into some wealth there. That needs, if there was a strong CARICOM factor there, that could be used as a way to pull together at this time, and not like Uncle Sam control things, which is so people are at the world is at the whims and the fancy of Uncle Sam. If it wasn't Trump, it would be somebody else. Trust me. Trump is there for a season. There for 4 years.
I mean,
I don't. Yeah.
He's there for a season. He's going to be there for 4 years. What the frightening thing is that who's going to come in after him? I mean, there's no one. There's no one on the periphery.
Who's gonna come after Trump? Is that what he said?
Yeah.
All right. Let's watch this. Let me see if I can play this.
Election. Here at Don't Cry Cryo, we understand your pain, and we're here to help.
Can you hear it?
Our expert team of cryogenic care providers can cryogenically freeze you until the Trump presidency has ended. No more crying, no more anxiety attacks, just blissful sleep until Trump is gone. When you awaken from your slumber, we'll even have a party ready and waiting for you. It will be like his presidency never even happened.
You can't get it on the system. You can't play it from the system.
No, I can't.
You can choose the Vance add-on package. We'll extend your
Sorry. I'm gonna try to play it.
shot after the recent Here at Don't Cry Cryo,
Can you
we
hear?
understand your pain, and we're here to help. Our expert team of cryogenic care providers can cryogenically freeze you until the Trump presidency has ended. No more crying, no more anxiety attacks.
That's a joke, man. That's a joke. That's a joke. I don't really want to hear that shit.
Listen,
When you
man.
awaken from your slumber,
Listen to
we'll
it.
even have a party ready and
Just
waiting
listen
for
to
you.
it. Just listen to it.
It will be like his presidency never even happened. It was all just a bad dream. As an added bonus, you can choose the Vance add-on package. We'll extend your sleep for an additional 4 years at a 50% discount in the event J.D. Vance wins the next presidential election. And we'll be okay.
That's a joke, man.
Listen, man.
Don't
Listen,
cry.
listen, Gary.
Shut that down.
No. Listen to this. Listen to this bit. Listen to this bit. Listen.
Where am I? Oh, please tell me it's over. Wait, something isn't right.
This is your captain, Elon Musk. I want to be the first one to welcome you to Mars. Sorry, Donald Trump Jr. was just elected president, and he deported all Don't Cry Cryo customers to Mars.
What?
Well, that's a joke.
well, what they're saying is that people can actually freeze themselves for the 4 years, but they said there's a 50% discount. So in case Vance win, and you can go for another 4 years. And then after that period of time, what is going to happen next is that Elon Musk is going to send them to Mars. And then guess what? Donald Trump Jr. will be the president. And then Donald Trump Jr. sign an executive order to get all of them out of the country and go to Mars. Michelle, what can I say? Michelle, you can hear. Michelle said all old.
I mean, the thing about it, I mean, seriously, there's nobody there. Vance really has not made a mark politically as yet.
Vance is new. Vance is new kid on the block. But that lady named Tulsi is gonna be a strong person. All being well if she becomes Tulsi Gabbard. All being well if she becomes this. I think the CIA is what she got. Intelligence chief or so like that.
I don't know if that. I mean, I'm not going to put my money on any woman within the United States anyway.
Yeah,
I won't do that. I would never do that. I mean, I don't know if the establishment there would ever allow that anyway. Whether the woman is qualified to the hilt.
Yes.
It's about whether the establishment, and as some call it, the deep state. Not,
Yes.
unless they stamp it, rubber stamp that individual, that
Yeah.
female, and
Yeah. You sure it's CIA, Michelle? I thought Patel is the guy for the CIA. Patel is the guy for CIA. Isn't Tulsi? Tulsi is for Isn't Tulsi is for intelligence chief? And Garry?
I don't know. I mean, I'm not really aware of that. I'm not really
Tulsi.
aware of that. I mean, what's
Tulsi
going
about-
on with Kennedy? What's going on with Kennedy and the health department? Is he gonna get it or not?
Well, he's going through the process.
Yeah, but is he gonna get it?
He's going through the process, Garry. If I knew, I would have told you.
Well, no. Well, it's either yeah or nay. Whether he goes through the process or not. I mean,
Yeah.
I mean, some are saying. I've heard one or two say he's gonna get it.
I think he's gonna get it. I think all of them gonna get it actually, because remember Trump got the House, and the Senate. Tulsi about questions on international. Cash Patel breaks with Trump on January 6th. I don't know. Anyway, Garry, let's talk. All right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, CIA. What's it? Yes. Intelligence. Yeah. Tulsi is for intelligence, and Patel is for CIA. That's the whole thing. Yes. That's Michelle just tidied it up there. CIA, and she's for intelligence. Yeah. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank you so much for coming on tonight. Those on YouTube, those on Facebook, and those on Instagram, and those on TikTok. Thank you so much, and have a good night. And see you Saturday night on Talking Sip, where we look at some of the key and fundamental issues in this world at the same time. Peace out. Bye-bye.